And welcome back to Just Wing It. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And we are back with the Arrows RC 1300mm Bigfoot, available from the Hobby Zone, an online distributor. And I'll tell you what, we have just done an unboxing, and I really like what I see. And I can't wait to get this thing assembled and going. Okay, it comes with an owner's manual, and it actually has some fairly detailed instructions on how to get this thing put together. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to utilize this, and we're going to do this one step at a time, or maybe a couple steps at a time. I have to go off camera to do this. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll do a couple of the steps, and we'll explain what we're talking about. I can tell already by looking right now. We're going to get the aircraft, at least the fuselage, upside down. We're going to put the main gear on. We're then going to go ahead and put the vertical and horizontal stabs on. So we're probably going to do all that. We'll flip to the next page and we'll go from there. For right now, I want to show you what you get inside your accessory package. So you're going to have your wing clips for the struts at the base of the fuselage, because the wing struts themselves are already bolted onto the wing. Okay, but really what happens is there's this little strut pin that will go at the end here, right here. And you'll put that strut pin in just like you would with an RC car. It's basically what they call a C-clip, and it just clips right in there and holds it onto the fuse. So in any event, so you have your C-clips, you have, it looks like 6, maybe 7 long screws. You have 2 somewhat shorter screws, almost like a wood screw really, but in any event. And then you have 5 of your shorter screws. So it looks like they give you 1 extra screws because you're going to use an even number of each. Here's your reinforcement plate for, now it's also a rounded plate. Notice it rounds off, so it gives the fuselage, it keeps that rounded shape. This is a plastic plate for your landing gear. Get back up there, you. In any event, the part's trying to slide off and attack me. Here's your scale accessory. Here's a wing antenna. This will basically just push into the wing. This key comes with it because everything is hex headed. So we've gotten away from screws, and now we're going to these hex heads. Let me see if I can actually get this somewhat here. So yeah, there you go. So everything is a hex fit now. So that's a bit more of a positive. So it has a hex. Here's for your elevator. Here's for your rudder. I'll put those on after the model's bound up to my DX6 and this AR610 receiver. Here's the propeller. Weight, it's actually kind of weighty, and there's the hole that this little key can actually fit in, and you can actually tighten it down utilizing that. Here's the baggage they came in, and here is your Y leads. Okay, you have a Y lead for your flaps, Y lead for your ailerons. So what's going to happen is we're going to go ahead and we're going to slide the wings together onto the wing spar, and then we're going to take these connectors and we're going to go ahead and double them up using those Y leads. We have connectors for the ailerons, connectors for the flaps, and there's a smaller connector for your lights. This is for the lights. Okay, so in any event, there you go. There's your light connector. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started in getting this thing assembled, and we're going to come back one step at a time, and we're going to show you where we're at in the assembly. But for now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start by getting the landing gear on. We're going to get this gear onto the fuse, and then we're going to get the vertical and rudder, and then the horizontal and elevators, or rather they're right there, pardon me. We're going to get those parts onto the fuse, and we're going to take it from there. So we'll be back shortly, so stay tuned with the assembly of the Arrows RC 1300mm Bigfoot. And alright, hey, we are back with the Arrows RC 1300mm Bigfoot. We're doing the assembly on this wonderful plane, and here we are. Okay, she's up on her feet, and we've got the empennage bolted on, and we've got the tail wheel secured, etc., etc., etc. Okay, hey, real quick, the next step is going to be, according to the owner's manual, we're going to put the wings together utilizing the carbon spar. We're going to go ahead and get the Y harnesses on all those leads. Hey, just in case you're wondering, and I kind of was actually, there's only 2 Y harnesses that are actually, where is it? Here we go. That are actually in the box. That's because the light leads on these wings, the light leads, and there's 3 sets of wires that come out of each wing. So don't get confused when you look over at your table and you go, wait a minute, I've only got 2 sets of Y leads, one for the flaps, one for the ailerons. Yes, because the wing lights will plug into these plugs right here. Okay? It's one for each wing. They're power leads. It doesn't really matter which order they go, I don't imagine. And that's already hooked up. This power lead already goes underneath and is powered up into the ESC. And also, I would imagine has power for any other set of lights that's on this thing. And I don't know if there are any other sets of lights on this thing. I think it's just in the wings. In any event, okay, so hey, fear not if you only have the 2 leads, the 2 Y leads which you're going to, because the plug for the wing lights is inside the fuse. Okay, so let's talk screws here real quick. Okay, because I had to utilize a screwdriver that I've got several years ago with another model. Okay, and I'm sure a lot of you have these little magnetized tipped screwdrivers for a bunch of models if you're an RC modeler. If not, hey, this is your first time, don't worry about it, but you're going to need a little tiny screwdriver. Okay, these screws right here are the 26 millimeter. These are the 10 millimeter. That's the 12 millimeter. That screw is a 12 millimeter, 10, 26. This Allen key right here will fit on your 26 mils, your 10. You're going to have another screwdriver similar to that, a smaller screwdriver to fit on that 12 mil. Okay, because that is a standard positive tip screwdriver. Okay, so now let's go ahead and come on over here and let's talk where all these screws go. Okay, so we're going to flip the model over and we're going to talk you through this. Okay, so your 26 mils are going to go in here, and it's very, very nice. This aluminum gear has a nice molded pocket that it fits into. Then this cover plate will go over this. It's rounded off on the fuse, right? So it gives the fuse a nice contoured shape, right? And then you go ahead and you use that hex driver and you screw these in. Snug them in. Don't get crazy. You don't have to, all right? Don't have to get crazy. Now, your other 26 mils are going to go right in here, okay? So you'll have 26 millimeters holding your vertical and your horizontal on. That extender from the tail wheel will go into this beautiful little plastic cap. I mean, really. Anyways, you can see it down in there, all right? You can see it down in there. And then there's a screw that goes, one of those 12 millimeter screws goes in here. And you can actually see it right in there, right by my finger. You can see it holding the landing gear extender in. See that? There you go. You see the screw in there. Good shot of that. Okay, I think you get the idea. So I don't want to belabor it, but your 12 millimeter goes in there. Snug it in. That's all you got to do is snug it in. Snug in these 26 mils. Okay. There's also, by the way, a piece of 2-inch, or correction, a piece of two-sided tape that you'll put in there. The owner's manual is quite explicit about that as to where it goes and how you put it in and all the rest of it. So there you be. Okay, so hey, she's on her feet. It's a stout little plane. It really is. It's sturdy. But that two-sided tape will be in here. You actually saw it on the table in an earlier shot. Well, that two-sided tape, let me see if I can find it here for you, because I don't want you to okay, here you go. Alright, so here's a good shot. So using the included double-sided tape, there's a little pocket, and this is the zoom in. You clearly see this pocket molded in. You put the two-sided tape in there, you expose the other side. This slots right down and holds the entire assembly into place. The vertical has the plastic pegs that go down through the holes in the horizontal, and it all bolts together. It's very, very nice. I'll tell you what, and here we go. Here's your 26 millimeter screws that go in, and here's your 12 millimeter, okay, for the tail wheel. Okay, and this one has a tip. It looks almost like a wood screw because you're screwing it into the actual solid plastic. But when you screw it in, it'll go nice and steady. Then it starts to bite on the other side. Just snug it up. There's no need to get crazy with it. There's not going to be any high G's on this plane. But here's the landing gear. This shows you the landing gear assembly going on with your 326 mils. And then you just bolt it all into place. It's very, very slick. I'm kind of getting the idea that this might be an FMS. And that they just basically took their Ranger, the FMS Ranger, which is another 1300 millimeter. I think it might be a 1280, I think. Huh. Anyways, I don't know. It has all the hallmarks of an FMS plane, which is great, by the way. That's not saying anything bad about this model at all. If anything, that's a good thing, right? And I can tell by the fit and finish thus far of this plane that, yeah, it has all the hallmarks of an FMS. And to me, that's a good thing. That is a good thing, okay? So in any event, hey, we're going to go off camera here for just a bit. We're going to get the main wings assembled, get the main wings on, and we're going to take it from there. So hang tight, and we'll be right back with the assembly of the Arrows RC 1300mm Bigfoot. Stay tuned. And we are back at Just Wing It. And looky here, we have the Bigfoot fully assembled from Arrows RC. It's a 1300 millimeter bush plane. It's a STOL, short takeoff or landing, short takeoff and landing. And boy, is she sweet! What a big plane. I'll tell you what, this thing from the nose all the way down is just a sweet plane. And remember, like I said, for those scale enthusiasts, if you want, it's got indentations where the doors would be on the Cessna 150. So you could actually do that. Now, real quick, I want to point out a couple of things. Okay, so first off, she is bound up. Notice I cover the throttle. That's what I do. Some people even go with a throttle cut. Okay, but so we've got the rudder bound up. Okay, I have 0% expo in the rudder. Okay, we have the elevator bound up. Okay, I've got 30% expo in the elevator, and I have 30% expo in those flaps. Okay, there's those flaps. Very nice. Okay, so I have, and I'll be a little safe here. That way people won't freak out. My gosh, you're near the prop. I know. So look, there you go. So there's 30% expo, but I don't have any dual rates on the ailerons. I don't think I'm going to need them. We'll find out. No dual rates on the elevator, but 30%. Now, flaps. I have my flaps on a 2-position setting, 2-second delay. So there's my half flap or takeoff. Okay, and then there's my landing flap. Not much between the two, okay? I suppose I could roll in a little more. I don't have them all the way down. I probably could. I don't think that this thing needs barn doors, but in any event, I'll go ahead and I'll probably dial in some more before we fly this thing. I want to talk about a couple things real quick. Okay, you'll notice that the lights aren't on, okay? The lights are not on. Why is that? Well, when I plugged them into my spare port, they were flashing. I'm like, what in the world is going on here? So I fiddled around with that for, I don't even know how long. And then I decided I'm going to do what any good hobbyist would do. I'm going to reach out. So I actually called your pilot Ryan Ramsey, of Pilot Ryan Media, and talked to him because he actually has this, and he said that basically there's a jumper, and I see it. I know what he's talking about. There's a jumper from the lights into the box, into the receiver, And he said just remove that and replace it with your standard Y harness and you're going to be fine. So that's what I'm going to do. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and take her out. We're going to go ahead and fly this thing. We're going to do the maiden flight. And I also want to talk about this right here. So the battery hatch, being a top feeder, is great. The only problem with top feeders is that you're always going to get some nicks. And I've already... This is just binding this thing up and just working on it. Got a nick right there. So I'm going to fly it, complete with nick. And then I'm going to take her by the local Home Depot and get her matched. The great thing is this thing comes right off, right? So it's spring loaded. You just take it right off. I can bring it in. They can computer match it. I'll get a little bottle of red paint to match. No problems. But in any event, hey, she's a sweet looking plane. I just wanted to show it to you all bound up, show you my control throws, and you're probably going, oh my gosh, man, that's a lot, but it's really not for what it is, and I got a lot of expo dialed in. Well, I say a lot, 30. She's balancing right at basically a little bit behind I've got her balanced just a little bit behind where the strut would go, about the thickest part of the airfoil. I think the manual calls out for 55 or 65, or let's see, what does it call out for? Oh, 60 to 70 millimeters. So yeah, so look at this. So on a straight wing, they're very, very, very simple. This looks like it's about 20% of the Mac, maybe about 23. Maybe even 25. Probably 25% of the Mac. So that's the mean aerodynamic chord. And notice it's about a quarter of the way back, right? So that's called about a 25%, between 20 and 25% of the Mac, mean aerodynamic chord. So that's how you balance it. And after a while, if you've been flying for a while, you're going to know what these planes need, especially a straight wing, and especially a bush plane, a bush style plane, especially a Cessna. What I mean is it's going to, you just sort of have to find the thickest part of the airfoil. It's kind of hard with these wing droops. But you have to find the thickest part of the airfoil, and that's pretty much where it's going to balance. And as you can see, that's about the balance point. It's a little bit behind where the strut would be, a little bit ahead of the tape channel. But yeah, that's about where she's going to balance. So she's balancing there with I got a 2200 65C China Hobby Lines 3S back in there, and she is raring to go. So hey, thank you for joining me for this build video, and we're going to get her out to the field, and we're going to get her in the air. So, next video you're going to see on this plane, the Arrows RC 1300mm Bigfoot, will be the maiden flight. So thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching, thank you for subscribing. Blue skies and happy landings from Just Wing It. Next up, the maiden flight with a 1300mm Bigfoot.